Hi, and welcome to the 6th edition of my vlog about the international news. I'm Andrew. Each of these vlogs includes a free English lesson. If you find the lesson useful, please subscribe to receive more free lessons in the future. If you have any questions about English, anything at all that you don't understand, then please leave a question in the comments section below this video. Okay, so we're going to start in France with the French election with these two people, Marine Le Pen at the top and Emmanuel Macron at the bottom there. So, amidst heavy security, that country, France, went to the polls last week. The French voting system means that a decision on the election day itself is a rarity because a candidate needs to get more than 50% of the vote to become president. So, what usually happens is that there are 2 rounds of voting. The first round of voting was won by Emmanuel Macron, who has come from nowhere to be the presumptive favourite for this election. He won about 23% of the vote. The far-right candidate, Marine Le Pen, finished second with about 21% of the vote, and it is she who will progress to the second round versus Monsieur Macron. Ms. Le Pen is the bogey woman of European politics, and some people had feared that she might come top in the first round of voting. Mr. Macron is forecast to win the second stage of the election easily. If this prediction is right, then it will be a second serious setback for the far right in Europe, following the defeat of Geert Wilders in the Dutch elections a month or so ago. And that here is Geert Wilders. He's a lovely looking man, isn't he? So, to the first lesson, and remember, if you find this lesson useful, please subscribe to get more free lessons in future. So, amidst heavy security, that country went to the polls last week. This sentence means that a lot of extra security was provided, for example, armed police, to protect the stations where people vote. You might also see amidst written as amid, amidst or amid. This word literally means in the middle of something. So, the election took place in the middle of tight security. To go to the polls simply means to vote in an election. A rarity. This is the noun form of the adjective rare. So a rarity is something that does not happen very often. So in this case, a decision on the election day itself is a rarity. A round of voting. So, we use this word round in English to mean something that happens in sequence or one after the other. In this case, it simply means that there are 2 different stages of voting, one after the other. But we also use this word to describe a situation where one person buys drinks for their friends in a pub, with the idea being that each person in the group will buy a drink for everybody else, and then after one person has bought drinks for the group, another person from the group will do the same thing. We call this buying a round of drinks, and it's one of my favourite things. As you know, this word round also describes the shape of a circle. So, the first round of voting was won by Emmanuel Macron, who came from nowhere to be the presumptive favourite for this election. To come from nowhere means to achieve success without having had a lot of success before. Presumptive. This is the adjective form of the verb to presume. So the presumptive favourite is the person that people think is likely to win, or the person that people presume will win. Bogey woman. Ms. Le Pen is the bogey woman of European politics. This is a person or thing that is widely feared. Forecast. A forecast is what somebody thinks will happen. It is the same thing as a prediction. Setback. A setback is a noun which means that something has gone wrong. So when a football team loses a match, we call this a setback for the team, for example. In this case, the defeat of Marine Le Pen was another setback for the far right in European politics. So to our second story this week, and remember, if you have any questions about English, please leave the questions in the comments section below this video. So, this week's second story features momentous news, namely the official rollout of the world's first ever vaccine against malaria. And you can see here, unfortunately, an African child dying from this terrible disease, malaria. This disease takes a terrible annual toll, killing more than 400,000 people per year, mainly in Africa. Whilst there has been progress in fighting the disease, there are still huge problems in sub-Saharan Africa, where 43% of children do not have access to prophylactic measures such as mosquito nets or spray. The new vaccine will debut in 2018 in Kenya, Ghana and Malawi. In trials, this new vaccine was highly effective. They tested it on 11,000 children that were at high risk, and the vaccine halved the mortality rate. So, here is lesson 2. Momentous. This word means hugely important. To roll out. This is an English phrasal verb which means to introduce something new. So when it is new and then it is launched or started, we roll it out. To take a toll. This disease takes a terrible toll. To take a toll means that something has a big impact on something. And this impact, in this case, is always negative with this expression. Prophylactic. This means that something has a preventative effect. So prophylactic measures are mosquito nets and mosquito spray because they prevent people from being bitten by the insect that carries malaria. Incidentally, whilst prophylactic is an adjective, in this passage it can also be a noun, and when we say a prophylactic, what we normally mean is a condom, which of course can prevent pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases, etc. Debut. A debut is the first appearance of something or someone. So it can be a product, such as a new phone, a vaccine, or it can be a person's debut. So a footballer's first appearance for their new club is their debut. To halve the mortality rate. To halve something means to reduce something by half. You cut it in half. The mortality rate is the rate at which people die. So this vaccine in trials cut in half the rate at which people were dying from malaria. So that's it for this week. I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. If you have, please subscribe. If you have questions, please leave them below the video. Thank you and goodbye.